Welcome to Histology Hub. Dinosaurs ruled the Earth for millions of years, but their story is darker than you think. Today, we're uncovering the hidden secrets of these prehistoric giants. Long before people walked the Earth, there was another world. It was a world of giants. These giants were the dinosaurs. They were magnificent creatures. They ruled the planet for a very long time, over 150 million years. We imagine them as amazing, powerful animals. We see their huge skeletons in museums. We think of them as kings and queens of a lost kingdom. Their story is one of power, but it is also one of great struggle. It is a story written in tooth and claw, a tale of survival in a world that was often dark and full of danger. Their time on Earth is a deep mystery. Scientists dig up their bones from the ground. These bones are like clues in a very old detective story. Each fossil tells us a little more about their lives. We learn about what they ate, how they moved, and how they fought. But these bones do not tell us everything. They leave many questions unanswered. What sounds did they make? What colors were their scales or feathers? The world of the dinosaurs is a puzzle we are still trying to solve, piece by ancient piece, revealing a history far more complex and brutal than we ever imagined. Today is September 12th, 2025. We stand on the shoulders of giants, looking back in time. We can now use technology to see this ancient world more clearly. We can build digital models of their bodies. We can study the chemistry of their fossilized bones. This helps us understand the incredible pressures they faced every single day. Their world was not a peaceful park. It was a wild and untamed place. Every sunrise brought new challenges. Every sunset brought new fears. This is the story of that world, a story of the dark and dangerous lives of the dinosaurs. We often think of dinosaurs as just big lizards, but they were much more than that. They were a diverse group of animals. Some were as small as chickens, others were as long as several buses lined up end to end. Some had feathers like birds, some had thick, scaly skin like armor. They lived on every continent, from the hot, steamy jungles to the cold, dark polar regions. Their story is not one simple tale. It is a collection of millions of stories, each one about a creature trying to live another day in a world that was constantly trying to end them. The dinosaur world was a place of extreme beauty and extreme danger. Giant volcanoes dotted the landscape. They would often erupt without warning. They filled the air with thick black ash. This ash could block out the sun for days or even weeks. Rivers of hot lava would flow across the land, burning everything in their path. The ground would shake from powerful earthquakes. These were not rare events. They were a constant part of life. The very ground the dinosaurs walked on was unstable and treacherous, a world always in motion and often in chaos. The weather was also a formidable enemy. Massive storms would sweep across the continents. They brought with them powerful winds and heavy rains. These rains could cause huge floods that drowned everything in their wake. In other places, long droughts would turn lush forests into dry, dusty wastelands. Food and water would become scarce. Dinosaurs would have to travel long distances to find enough to survive. The climate itself was a relentless force, shaping the lives of these animals and deciding who would live and who would perish under its harsh and unpredictable rule. This dangerous world was also full of unseen threats. Disease was a constant problem. Just like animals today, dinosaurs could get sick. Fossilized bones sometimes show signs of infection, tumors, and injuries that never healed properly. A small cut from a branch or a bite from an insect could lead to a deadly infection. Without medicine, even a simple illness could be a death sentence. These microscopic enemies were just as deadly as the giant predators. They were silent killers, claiming countless lives in a world where only the strongest and luckiest survived long enough to reproduce. The competition for resources made life even harder. Every dinosaur, from the smallest herbivore to the largest carnivore, was in a constant battle for food. Plant eaters had to compete for the best leaves and ferns. They would strip entire forests bare. This forced them to migrate, always searching for new feeding grounds. This constant search put them in the path of predators. For the hunters, the struggle was just as real. A failed hunt meant starvation. The world of the dinosaurs was a world of hunger, a place where every meal was a victory and every day was a fight for survival. When we think of dinosaur predators, one name comes to mind: Tyrannosaurus rex. This was the tyrant lizard king, and it earned its name. T-Rex was one of the largest meat-eaters to ever walk on land. It was as long as a school bus and as tall as a two-story building. Its head was massive, built for one purpose: to crush bone. Its teeth were the size of bananas, thick and serrated like steak knives. A bite from a T-Rex could tear off hundreds of pounds of flesh in a single motion. It was the ultimate predator of its time, a true monster that ruled the end of the dinosaur age. The power of T-Rex was not just in its size. It had incredibly strong senses. Its large eyes faced forward, giving it depth perception to judge distances perfectly. This was crucial for a hunter. It could see its prey from far away. It also had a fantastic sense of smell. Huge nasal passages in its skull suggest it could smell a potential meal from miles away. It could track its victims or find carcasses to scavenge. This combination of size, power, and keen senses made T-Rex an almost perfect killing machine, an apex predator that sat at the very top of the food chain. But T-Rex was not the only giant killer in the dinosaur world. In other parts of the world and in different times, other giants reigned. Spinosaurus, for example, was even longer than T-Rex. It lived in what is now North Africa. It had a huge sail on its back and long crocodile-like jaws. It was a master of the water, hunting giant fish in vast river systems. In South America, Giganotosaurus was a predator that rivaled T-Rex in size. It hunted some of the largest plant-eaters that ever lived, the giant titanosaurs. Each continent had its own tyrant king. These giant predators shaped the world around them. Their presence forced other dinosaurs to evolve. Herbivores developed defenses to protect themselves. Some grew thick armor like Ankylosaurus with its bony plates and clubbed tail. Others, like Triceratops, grew massive horns to fight back. Many smaller dinosaurs simply relied on speed and agility to escape. The existence of these super predators created an evolutionary arms race. It was a constant back and forth between the hunters and the hunted, a deadly game that pushed evolution to create bigger, stronger, and more terrifying creatures. The fossil record gives us rare but incredible glimpses into the violent lives of dinosaurs. We find bones with bite marks that perfectly match the teeth of a predator. We find skeletons of two dinosaurs that died while fighting each other. One famous fossil shows a velociraptor locked in combat with a protoceratops. The velociraptor has its killing claw embedded in the neck of its prey. The protoceratops has bitten down on the raptor's arm. They were buried together in a sandstorm, locked in a deadly embrace for millions of years. This is direct proof of the brutal battles that took place. Fights were not just between predators and prey. Dinosaurs of the same species often fought each other. They fought for territory, for mates, or for control of a herd. We see evidence of this in their skulls. The skull of a triceratops often has puncture wounds and scrapes. These marks match the horns of another triceratops. This suggests that they locked horns and shoved each other, much like bulls or rhinos do today. These were not gentle giants. They were powerful, aggressive animals that would fight fiercely to establish their dominance and secure their place in the herd. Even the largest plant-eaters were not safe. A giant like Argentinosaurus, one of the heaviest animals to ever live, was a tempting target for a pack of predators like Giganotosaurus. A single hunter would not stand a chance. But a coordinated attack by a group could be successful. The predators would likely try to separate a young or weak individual from the herd. They would slash at its legs, trying to bring the giant down. The battle would be long and bloody. The ground would shake as the massive animals clashed. It was a monumental struggle between the biggest hunters and the biggest prey. These battles were a matter of life and death. For the predator, winning meant a meal that could feed its family for weeks. Losing meant injury or starvation. For the herbivore, winning meant living to see another day. Losing meant a violent end. The pressure to win was immense. Every dinosaur had to be ready to fight for its life at any moment. This constant state of conflict defined their existence. The dinosaur world was an arena, and the inhabitants were gladiators, forced into epic battles where the only prize was survival. The world of dinosaurs was not just about the giants. For every Tyrannosaurus rex or Brachiosaurus, there were thousands of smaller dinosaurs. Their lives were filled with constant fear. They were hunted by a huge variety of predators. Big carnivores could swallow them whole, and smaller, faster hunters like the raptors were a constant threat. Even the sky was not safe, as flying reptiles called pterosaurs would swoop down to snatch them. The world for a small dinosaur was really a place where danger lurked behind every rock, every tree, and in every shadow. They had to be alert every second of every day. These smaller creatures had to be clever to survive. They simply could not rely on size or strength. Instead, they used speed, agility, and intelligence. Dinosaurs like Ornithomimus, the so-called bird mimic, were built for running. They had long, powerful legs and a lightweight body, so they could sprint at high speeds to escape from danger. Others, like Compsognathus, which was about the size of a turkey, were small enough to hide easily. They could dart into thick bushes or small crevices where larger predators simply could not follow. Their small size was their greatest advantage in a world of giants. Many small dinosaurs also found safety in numbers. They lived and traveled in groups or flocks. A flock of small dinosaurs had many pairs of eyes and ears, which made it much harder for a predator to launch a surprise attack. If one member of the group spotted danger, it could give a warning call, and the whole group would then scatter, confusing the predator. This collective defense was a crucial survival strategy. It shows that even small creatures can find strength when they work together, a fundamental rule of nature that was as true then as it is now. Their struggle was not just about avoiding predators. They also had to find food. Many small dinosaurs were insectivores, eating insects and other small invertebrates. Others ate small lizards, mammals, or even the eggs of other dinosaurs. They were opportunistic feeders, eating whatever they could find. They lived in the undergrowth of the great fern forests, in the shadows of the giants. Theirs was a life on the edge, a constant hustle for the next meal, and a desperate scramble to avoid becoming a meal themselves. Their story is a vital part of the dinosaur saga. Every day in the Mesozoic era began with a fundamental choice: to hunt or to hide. For predators, the hunt was a complex and dangerous art. It was not always a simple chase. Some hunters, like Deinonychus, may have hunted in packs. They were intelligent and armed with a terrible sickle-shaped claw on each foot. By working together, they could overwhelm prey much larger than themselves. They would use strategy, flanking their target and attacking from multiple sides. The hunt was a test of skill, teamwork, and endurance, a high-stakes gamble where failure often meant going hungry. For the hunted, hiding was an equally complex skill. Camouflage was a key defense. Many dinosaurs likely had skin patterns and colors that helped them blend in with their environment. A dinosaur living in a forest might have had stripes or spots to break up its outline among the trees and shadows. A dinosaur in a desert might have been sandy brown. We can infer this from modern animals. Nature always finds ways to provide its creatures with the tools they need to survive. For many herbivores, the best defense was to never be seen in the first place, becoming living ghosts in the landscape. The dance between hunter and hider was continuous. Predators were always adapting, developing sharper senses to find their hidden prey. In turn, prey animals were always evolving better defenses. Some developed incredible hearing or a wide field of vision to detect predators early. The Parasaurolophus had a long, hollow crest on its head. Scientists believe it may have used this crest to create deep, booming sounds. These sounds could travel over long distances, serving as a warning system for the entire herd. It was an alarm that signaled the start of the chase. This daily dance was exhausting. It required constant energy and awareness. There were no moments of true peace. A herbivore drinking at a waterhole had to be constantly vigilant. A carnivore resting after a meal could be challenged by another predator trying to steal its kill. Life was a relentless cycle of tension and release. This constant stress shaped their bodies and their behaviors. It is the engine of evolution. The dark and dangerous reality of their world is what made dinosaurs some of the most spectacular and successful animals that have ever lived. For 150 million years, the dinosaurs had overcome every challenge. They had survived volcanic eruptions, climate change, and the constant threat of predation. They were masters of their world. But then, one day, everything changed forever. About 66 million years ago, a catastrophe of unimaginable scale occurred. An asteroid, a giant rock from space, was on a collision course with Earth. It was at least 6 miles wide, larger than Mount Everest. It traveled through space at incredible speed, a silent messenger of doom heading for a planet that was teeming with life. The impact was cataclysmic. The asteroid slammed into the planet in what is now the Gulf of Mexico. The energy released was more powerful than billions of atomic bombs. The moment of impact created a flash of intense heat that incinerated everything for hundreds of miles. It triggered the largest tsunami in Earth's history, with waves miles high that washed over entire continents. Massive earthquakes shook the entire planet. The ground itself would have felt like it was turning to liquid. For the dinosaurs living in the Americas, the end came in a matter of minutes. The immediate devastation was only the beginning of the horror. The impact threw trillions of tons of pulverized rock, dust, and soot high into the atmosphere. This thick cloud spread around the globe, wrapping the planet in a shroud of darkness. It blocked out the sun. Without sunlight, photosynthesis stopped. Plants on land and plankton in the oceans began to die. The entire global food chain collapsed from the bottom up. The world was plunged into a long, dark winter that would last for years. The sky that once gave life now brought only death. The dinosaurs that survived the initial blast now faced a new, slower kind of extinction. The plant-eaters starved first. With no plants to eat, their massive bodies could not be sustained. They died by the millions. Soon after, the meat-eaters, including the mighty T-Rex, also ran out of food. Their prey was gone. The world grew cold and dark. It was a grim, desperate time. The reign of the dinosaurs, the most successful group of animals in Earth's history, was coming to a brutal and tragic end, not with a roar, but with the silence of a dying world. In the years following the asteroid impact, the world was a ghost of its former self. The great fern forests were gone, replaced by fields of decaying matter. The air was thick with haze, and a constant toxic rain fell from the sky. The vibrant sounds of the dinosaur world, the roars, the calls, the thundering footsteps, were replaced by an eerie silence. The planet was in a state of shock, a long twilight from which it would take millions of years to recover. This was the impact winter, a dark chapter in the planet's history where most of life was extinguished. Not everything died, however. Some creatures were small enough or had the right adaptations to survive. Small mammals, our own distant ancestors, survived by burrowing underground. They could hide from the worst of the devastation and eat insects, roots, and anything else they could find. In the oceans, some fish and sharks survived in the deep waters. Crocodiles and turtles, with their slow metabolisms, were able to endure the long periods of cold and starvation. And one special group of dinosaurs also made it through the darkness. This surviving group was a branch of small, feathered dinosaurs. We know them today as birds. They were able to survive for several reasons. Their small size meant they needed less food. Their beaks were adapted to eat seeds, which were abundant after the plants had withered and died. And most importantly, their ability to fly allowed them to travel vast distances to find pockets of safety and resources. They were the last dinosaurs, the sole inheritors of a fallen kingdom, and they carried the legacy of their giant ancestors into a new world. The long twilight eventually ended. The dust settled and sunlight returned to the Earth's surface. Life began to recover, but the world was forever changed. The age of giant reptiles was over. The niches left empty by the dinosaurs were now open. This created a huge opportunity for the survivors. The small, shrew-like mammals that had been hiding in the shadows for millions of years began to diversify. They grew larger and spread across the globe. The end of the dinosaurs' dark history was the beginning of our own. The story of the dinosaurs is more than just a tale of ancient monsters. It is a profound lesson about life on our planet. It teaches us that no species, no matter how powerful or dominant, is guaranteed to last forever. The dinosaurs ruled the Earth for an immense span of time, far longer than humans have existed. They were incredibly successful and adapted to a huge range of environments. Yet, a single event from space was enough to wipe them out. Their fall is a humbling reminder of the fragility of life and the power of nature. Their history also shows us the incredible resilience of life. Even after a catastrophe that killed 75% of all species, life found a way to continue. The survivors, the small and the adaptable, inherited a broken world and slowly rebuilt it. This process of extinction and recovery has happened multiple times in Earth's history. It shows that life is a powerful force that can endure even the darkest of times. The rise of mammals, and eventually humans, was only possible because of the dinosaurs' dramatic fall. Their end was our beginning. Studying the dark secrets of the dinosaurs gives us a unique perspective on our own world today. We see the same principles at play: the competition for resources, the relationship between predator and prey, and the impact of environmental change. The dinosaurs faced climate change from volcanoes. We face it from our own activities. Their story is a cautionary tale written on a planetary scale. It warns us that the world can change rapidly and dramatically, and that survival depends on the ability to adapt to those changes before it is too late. Ultimately, the dinosaurs are not truly gone. Their legacy lives on. We see it in every bird that flies through the sky, a direct descendant of a fearsome theropod dinosaur. We see their echoes in the principles of evolution and survival that govern all life on Earth. Their dark and dangerous history is a window into the deep past, showing us a world of struggle, of terror, and of magnificent power. By unveiling these secrets, we learn more about the epic story of our planet and our own small place within it.